next level, called the Alpine. The dividing line between the sub and the Alpine is the tree line. So if you look around, you'll notice that the trees seem to stop growing at a certain arbitrary point. Well, it's that line above which they cannot survive. Yes, very brutal environment around here, to the point where we only have one type of tree existing up this high, called the Engelmann spruce. No deciduous trees, no leafy trees at all. They just can't survive up here. It's just too brutal. The environment is also brutal for the plants and animals around here too, especially the animals. Some of them have to hibernate for up to 9 months at a time. Yes. Imagine spending 3/4 of your life asleep. If any of you have teenagers, you might already be familiar with that sort of lifestyle. But as I say, it is a brutal environment for the creatures up here. Some of them hibernate as many as 9 months, and a lot of them hibernate for 8 months. So 2/3 of the year and 2/3 of their life they are actually asleep. They do come out occasionally to urinate and to defecate. Some of them do stay in their burrows for the entire 8 months. So we do have larger animals around here too that do not hibernate. We have bighorn sheep. You might have already seen those on your way here. They will frequently be seen at the side of the road. They like to browse and forage there for grass and vegetation. They also like to stay close to the road because of the salt opportunities that they find there, especially in the early spring. You'll often find them on the road licking the asphalt. What they're doing is licking the de-icing chemical off the road. And so in a roundabout way, when we de-ice the roads, we're actually helping improve their diet because they lick the salt off the road, and that improves their keratin production in their body, and that makes their horns and hooves stronger. And also around here, you might see some. We have marmots. Kind of a funny-looking animal. They look like a groundhog that you would see at lower elevations, but a little bit bigger and different coloration. They look kind of like the size of a large groundhog, maybe a large raccoon. I just saw one up here a second ago. It's called the hoary marmot. They live up here. You will not find those at lower elevations. We also have another kind of marmot up here called the yellow-bellied marmot. And we have a number of ground squirrels. We have one type called the Colombian ground squirrel that looks very much like a prairie dog. And we also have a golden-mantled ground squirrel that looks like an oversized chipmunk. And we also have another type of chipmunk called the least chipmunk, which is very small in comparison to the lower elevation cousins. So just coming into sight right now is the transfer bays and the ice explorers. You'll be transferring over to an ice explorer, then going onto the ice. So we'd ask that you stay within the covered areas just as you're waiting to get on. Please stay within the yellow lines. We have a lot of large equipment moving around here. We don't want anybody to get hurt. And I would ask also that you take all of your personal belongings with you as you get off the shuttle. Chances are you'll have a different shuttle on the way back. And the glacier water. It is very clean and pure, but there is a component in there that does give a laxative effect, so feel free to bottle up the glacier water. Just don't drink the whole. Yes, unless you are already constipated. And it works great.
It was about 2,400 meters, if I've seen it all, yeah. So it will be a little bit higher than we are now, not by too much, but it will probably be a little bit colder. Yeah. And it's just started to rain a little bit. So it might be snowing a little bit up there, which would be nice. Give it 5 minutes though and it will change. Alright, you guys excited to go on a glacier today? Sure. Sure. Love it, excellent. Cool. Where is everyone from? Vancouver. Vancouver Island.
Kingston, Ontario.
Ontario, excellent. Cool. Well, I am from New Zealand, so a little bit further afield.
Yeah.
I sound a little bit British apparently. At least you didn't say I sound Australian, that's good. So apparently my accent can be a little bit hard to understand sometimes. So apparently my E's sound like I's and my I's sound like U's. And then if at any point today I'm talking to you about a bear, there is like an 80% chance I'm talking to you about the wild animal, and then a 20% chance I'll be talking to you about the alcoholic beverage. Alright, should we see how fast these things go? Alright, let's go. Top speed is... there we go, that's about our top speed. So these things are definitely not made for speed, but they are definitely built for maneuverability. Alright, so we're going to head up to the Athabasca Glacier today. We're going to drive on it. We're going to open the door, and then you guys will be able to go out and play on the glacier for a little it is, you know, pretty chilly up there at the moment, so if you want to come back on the bus for a little bit and then go back onto the glacier, you could do that as well.
The same bus?
It'll be the same bus, yeah, the same bus, yeah, the same driver and everything. So the Athabasca Glacier, we're heading kilometres of glacial ice. So have you guys been to Banff?
Yeah.
So the township of Banff, if you know the size of that, you can fit 34 of those into the Columbia ice field. So it's absolutely massive. It's where the glacial ice is formed. It's a process called fernification. So when layers and layers of snow get compacted together, they push down on the layers beneath them and they squeeze out all of those air particles. And we get about 10 square meters of snow up on the Columbia ice field every winter. So quite a lot. So glacial ice is formed by snow. Normal ice is just frozen water. So very, very different. Frozen water just has about 50% air. Glacial ice has about 10% air by the time it's all being compacted down. So it's a similar process to making a snowball with your hands. So you start off with a handful of very fluffy, light snow, which is about 90% air. You use the pressure of your hands to then squeeze all of the air particles out, and then you have a very dense ball of almost ice that is perfect for throwing at someone. So a very similar process. Glacial ice is very, very dense. So it acts like a prism, so it absorbs all of the different colours of the light spectrum apart from the blue wavelengths, and those are the ones that get reflected into your eyes. So that's why glacial ice looks a bit more blue. Other rockers. So it's a pumice. So pumice is a very light volcanic rock. You won't find any pumice in this area, however, because this area is not volcanic at all. So what happened when the tectonic plates beneath this area subducted? They subducted at a very steep angle, so that didn't allow for any rips and tears of the Earth's crust. That's what would have happened if they'd subducted at a very shallow angle. And that's where the rips and the tears, that's where the lava and the magma comes in. We can see across the valley to our right here that there is a big ridge on the other side. This is a lateral moraine. So lateral means side in Latin. Moraine is a French word, and everything sounds way better in French because the English translation is just a pile of rock and dirt. So that was created by the glacier when it was at its largest and most recent history. So back in 1843, we can imagine glacial ice would have completely filled this valley here all the way up to the tip of that moraine there. We have an identical lateral moraine on this side as well. We can't really see it right now because we're sitting right at the top of it, and we're going to go all of the way down it as well. So it's pretty steep, we're pretty high up. Oh la la indeed. So if you're like me and you're afraid of roller coasters or afraid of heights, then you can just do what I do and close your eyes and you'll be absolutely fine.
So all year round the snow and ice covered all year round? So
all year round the glacier definitely exists. There is some snow cover at the higher elevations, but in July and August there won't be any snow on the glacier. There may be some snow like up on the ice field still and on the tips of the mountains, but it can also snow in July and August, so there is often snow in this area just because of the altitude. So this is the steepest commercially unpaved road in North America. Woo! It's on a 34% grade. So often on highways you'll see a warning sign for trucks, when there's an 8% grade. This one doesn't even have any kind of warning sign and it's way more than 8%. So it's a 20-degree angle. These trucks are built to handle much steeper angles than that though, so we're absolutely in safe hands. The steepest street in the world is actually in New Zealand. It's called Baldwin Street and it's in a place called Dunedin. And this is an infamous university town, loads of drunken students. And these drunken students like to go down this steep street in shopping carts and wheelie bins. So wheelie bins have, 2 wheels and no brakes at all. So I think we made a much better choice choosing a vehicle that has 6 wheels and on the glacier. They have experienced guides who have a whole bunch of safety equipment. So there is nothing legally stopping you from walking on any part of this glacier. I guess the only thing is if you fell into something and got yourself into some danger and parks had to come and save you, you'd have a lot of questions to answer. Because there are a whole bunch of hidden dangers on the glacier that are definitely covered at the moment by a bit of that snowpack. So yeah, definitely good to have someone with you that knows where they're going, what they're doing, and has rope to get you out just in case. Alright, good job guys, you made it down. So we're actually on part of the glacier right now, believe it or not, even though this looks just like a dirt road, and it is. But beneath this dirt road though, beneath our tyres, there is glacial ice and quite a lot of it. So the rock and dirt and debris have come down from the side of the mountain. They've covered this part of the glacier in a very thick layer that's acting kind of like an insulating blanket. So it's actually keeping this part of the glacier colder. There's another one on the other side as well. So in 80 years' time, they're anticipating that the glacier will fully melt, recede, cease to exist. But once it does, this ice core moraine will stick around for an additional 60 years. And the meltwater from this glacier right now is very important. It goes all the way across Canada, across the US. They use it for drinking water, for animals, for agriculture. So yeah, once this glacier stops producing meltwater, then the ice core moraine meltwater will contribute to the same lake and river systems. Now, even though this very, very thick layer is acting like an insulating blanket, protecting this part of the glacier from the direct sunlight, if we take on a very thin layer, it can make the glacier melt a little bit faster. So we go through the tyre wash here, we give our tyres a quick clean off all of the dirt that we've just picked up going down that moraine. What can happen is if we get any kind of rock or dark matter on the glacier, it can attract heat from the sunlight and it will melt the area surrounding it, creating a slight depression in the glacier that the melt will then start swirling around it. And this could create a tunnel that can go all the way down to the bottom of the glacier. So this is called a mill well. This is one of the hidden dangers on a glacier that you most certainly do not want to find yourself inside. No, exactly. The other one is a crevasse. A crevasse is a big crack in glacial ice. Different to a crevice is a crack in a rock. A crevasse is created by the glacial ice moving at different rates in different directions, causing tension on a particular area until it cracks wide. Again, definitely not something you want to find yourself inside by accident. And if someone to find themselves in a crevasse or a mill well, we would have to call Parks Canada to come and get you out, which is fine, except Parks Canada is a government department. I don't know how much experience you've had with government, but generally government departments take about 5 to 7 business days to respond to any queries. So we're going to try and keep you as safe as possible today. We're going to stick within the area boundary. So the area is marked with red circular signs that say area boundary. So we're not going to go beyond them because we are some crevasses and mill wells out there. The area is conveniently marked as well by the stream on either side. So if you're jumping over a stream, you've gone too far. Jump right back over to safety. While you're there though, you can try some of that glacial meltwater that's flowing from that stream. Very cold and fresh and delicious. Very, very good for you. I've been told it makes you look a whole lot younger if you drink a little bit of it. I'm not super convinced by that though, but just in case I do try and drink some every time I'm up here. And I've been coming up here for the past 100 or so years, and I still don't look a day over 15, so I think it's working pretty well. Just don't drink too much of it though. It does have a very high mineral content, and because of that, excessive consumption can cause a laxative effect. This bus does not have a washroom. Now we are bus number 535. We have a picture of a frog on our door. Beep, beep, get out of the way. Now we're going to be back here at 1 o'clock.
So we are right now on Athabasca Glacier. Oh, it's so surreal. sure if it's visible clearly. So now we'll enjoy our time over here for half an hour, and then we have to go back. I'm just going to a small waterfall back there. As you can see, my husband, he's taking water from there. So our bus driver told us that it's very high in minerals, so we can drink it, but not too much, as it can cause constipation. So
Pretty good.
Perfect. Your mom, you'll get a picture of me and the little ladies.
Very cool.